Hello and welcome everybody to the MTG Paper Legacy Discord's June League Playoffs. I am PresBOTW and I'm joined here by Chaotic Bear. How's it going today?
Hello, everyone. Excited to watch some Magic here and see some sweet playoff action.
Yeah, so this is Cliff versus Scavenging Booze or Chad here as well. And this is a semifinal match. So Cliff was able to take down his quarterfinals opponent and his round of 16 opponent. And then Scavenging Booze, I know last round took down Rax on Sneak and Show.
Yeah,
So this is definitely going to be a good one here. And we will see how this goes because I know Hogaak is famous for absolutely demolishing blue decks.
yeah. It's funny because Blue or Delver is all Delver decks are known to be strong against combo decks in general, but Hogaak doesn't quite play on the same like A plus B axis, despite having Alter Dimension Hogaak. It has a lot of different axes it can attack on, and so I think Blue or Delver might struggle a little bit to stay ahead here.
Yeah, I think it largely depends on that. That being said, though, Blue Red Delver with the more modern shell involving Dragon's Rage Channeler and Ragavan, I think could potentially be fast enough that it could easily get through Hogaak here. That being said, though, I think that if you allow Hogaak to get to mid game or long game, which I know in Hogaak's case is like turn 3, um,
Yeah.
it could potentially just run Delver over.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely depend on the start that Scavenging Boost has. If it's one of those like turn one Stitcher Supplier, turn one Hedron Crab into like Mill Bridge, Mill Bloodghast kind of thing, that's much more scary than a turn one, Cabal Therapy.
Yeah. So we're gonna see Booze on the play here. Looks like crack fetchland. I think that's a Misty Rainforest into a Underground Sea
Yep.
and a Careful Study. Okay. We are
So
going deep.
that'll get some stuff in the yard. Thankfully, that is a way that he has to get stuff from his hand into the yard instead of just
Yeah.
getting
Discards
stuck with it.
Bloodghast and Vengevine. Wow. That's a good start.
Yep. That's not quite turn one repeatable mill, but those are two important cards to get in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Um,
And Cliff just Wasteland. Go.
oh, snap it off. I mean, Scavenging Boot, or sorry, Hogaak is unlike Dredge a little bit in that it runs plenty of lands to play all its spells, and I know like Dredge decks can skip down to like what 13 or 15 lands, something crazy.
Something really low
Yeah.
like that, yeah. So we're just gonna see a Dryad Arbor here, getting the Bloodghast back.
Yep. It's like 18 lands in this deck here. I mean, nothing in the deck costs more than two that you ever plan to pay mana for, but
Mm-hmm. That being said, though, Cliff kind of tempoed himself pretty good there. That being said, normally a play like that doesn't actually give any information on what type of deck you're on, but with this being open deck list, Booze knows that Cliff is on Delver.
yeah. I think the ceiling for that was if Scavenging Boost didn't have a second land, maybe just draw go there. But since he did, he was able to buy back the Bloodghast. He was able to have a full turn, whereas Cliff just time walked himself there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
um, but has a Valk himself and making some choices here may have a threat to deploy as well.
Yeah. Looks like he's thinking a fair bit here. Fork Bolt, wow,
All
that's
right,
really good.
that is a fun new. I don't want to say new piece of tech for Blue Red Delver, but I feel like I've been seeing it in the Delver show more lately.
I really liked Fork Bolt. I
Yeah.
think it's super good. I also think it's underplayed.
We got to see someone knock off two elves with it in last month's playoffs, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah. No, there's just so many creatures that the card is just absolutely bonkers against. Like
Yeah,
even in a Death and Taxes matchup, at minimum, it's like Thalia plus something else, Mom, Flicker Wisp, whatever else.
yeah. So Scavenging Boost had third land to get this to be able to hardcast this Cabal Therapy. We'll be able to get it back with Bloodghast if he
Yeah,
chooses.
this is super good too because this will allow Booze to play the first therapy. This is also open deck list, so your chances are better than normal. Um, Not only that, because like you know that Cliff is on straight blue red Delver. You're not worried about if there's Tarmogoyfs or if there's Gurmag Anglers in there or whatever else. Like this is not Rugger Grixis.
Yep.
Um,
So it looks like that is going to resolve. The name is Days. We'll see if Cliff has
hmm.
any Dazes in hand.
Well, if he let it resolve and named the card, there's not much else you can do. Okay. So the interesting thing here, though, is that with the Bloodghast, Cliff has a recurable, or Booze has a recurable window to actually fire back again.
Yeah, so we see Force of Will, Ponder, Ragavan, Dragon Raid, Chandler, and 2 bolts. It would be real tempting to flash it back and get the 2 bolts, but that isn't.
Yeah, at the
It's
same time, I'd be kind of worried about the Ragavan or the Channeler. Plus, also with no other lands and just a Ponder, I'd be
yeah,
kind of tempted to try and take the Ponder too.
yeah,
Especially because the Ponder's the only blue card, and so Cliff has to exile it if he wants to force of will back the Cabal Therapy.
yeah. I think that there's a lot of choices you can make there, either for one of the permanent damage sources that gets you some value, like the Ponder, like you said. Uh, Bolt's a clean 2-for-1 and could help, keep your creatures alive against your opponents. You can smack in. I think I'd take almost anything but Force of Will there, honestly.
Yeah, I could see any of those other cards. Like Bolt, you're getting a 2-for-1. That's 6 damage that you're preventing, which is really good.
Mm.
Um, the Dragon's Rage Channeler is a fast flying clock. Ragavan is just nuts, especially considering that Bloodghast can't block.
Yeah.
That's a very reasonable name too. And then with them being on one land as well, Ponder's also a good name. And yeah, I agree. Force is the only thing you don't care about in that hand.
Yep. So Boo's gonna flick some cards here. Maybe doesn't flash this back right now without a way to get the Bloodghast back. Maybe doesn't have a land. I don't know. We don't know the hands. In the blind here, I'm very tempted to just snap that Cabal Therapy off, but he chooses to pass back.
Interesting. See, I probably would have fired it off right away, and then it either gets countered pitching Ponder, or you just name Ponder. Or I guess you could also try and name either Ragavan or Bolt.
Yeah. I guess maybe valuing having the creature out without a way to buy it back. I'm not sure what Booz would have in his hand, and like we saw a careful study, sometimes stuff just gets trapped in your hand in this kind of deck.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ponder and a quick shuffle probably didn't find land too. I have to guess.
Yeah, probably not.
Although I guess if it's just like land, land, land with no shuffle, I'd probably also shuffle that, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, like no fetches?
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see that.
maybe a
Yeah,
little
Delver
greedy.
decks operate on very thin margins, so let's see. Did Cliff get the land that he needed? Nope. Pass back.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Booze is rewarded for not taking that Ponder because the Ponder didn't find anything. Uh-oh, Blood or Gravecrawler here. Okay, now you have functionally infinite fodder to sacrifice here. Although it looks like we're just gonna get a Hogaak.
Yep. Um, if Cliff found a blue card, do you think you force this to set him back a little? Oh, this is Vengevine because he's. Where's the second creature?
So Hogaak is the creature that he's casting.
Oh, okay. The
Eventually,
Vengevine trigger. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So there's the Hogaak.
Yep. And we're gonna see a force pitch expressive iteration. So that must be found off the ponder or found for turn.
Yeah, and then immediately sacrifices the Bloodghast to flashback the. And here, yes, you name Lightning Bolt because you know that there's 2 of them.
Yep.
Ooh, Ragavan, Forked Bolt, and Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, so there's a lot of burn and not a lot of other action going on.
Yeah.
And actually, I think given the Vengevine there, I actually think that's a super good play too, taking all the bolts.
Yeah. Keep your threats around. Just like beat face before he can stabilize. I think that all makes sense.
Yep. And also, Cliff still does not have Delirium for Dragon's Rage Channeler.
Are you right? Instant sorcery, land, no creature?
Instant sorcery land, there are no creatures.
So one of the fun things that I've seen Blue or Delver lists running is Tarfire to have tribal as an extra card type. Is he running that? I don't. Let me grab his deck list real quick.
Yeah, cast Ragavan. I agree with that. There are no Tarfires anywhere in the
No.
75.
I think that might be more cute than it is good, but it is cute.
Yes, I actually don't mind that, so to say.
Yeah.
I also agree, though, that it's like I'd honestly rather just have a Fork Bolt over a Tarfire, but
Yeah. I'm sure
Yeah.
with the popularity of Blue Red Delver online, we'll get some data about how often that matters from
Yeah.
some of the grinders. But
So it looks here like Chad is attacking with the Gravecrawler here, and not with the Vengevine.
interesting. I mean, I guess
I
that
think the reason why is Chad just wants to block
just wants
right
to
now.
deny the treasure.
Yeah. Deny exiling off the top, deny the treasure. Like you're offering a trade there, Gravecrawler for the Ragavan, which Cliff didn't take.
Oh no, that would be
Excuse me.
crazy. I mean, if Cliff goes ahead and attacks
Oh,
next,
is he taking
oh
it?
my goodness.
Wow.
I mean, he does have a back. No, no.
No, doesn't take. It doesn't make the trade. He just takes the 2 damage.
If he swings next turn, well, this
Ooh.
Gravecrawler makes it worse. I was gonna say if he swings next turn and he blocks with a Vengevine, Vengevine's a 4/3, right? So he could get a
Yes.
2-for-1 with the Forked Bolt in the hand, which is
Yeah.
cute. But both those creatures come back.
Yeah. Actually, interestingly enough, with the 2 Gravecrawlers there, it's kind of rough in this particular point right now because you just literally need any creature, and then you can bring back the other Gravecrawler to get your Vengevine back.
Yeah, I mean, you almost have to you could Forked Bolt both Gravecrawlers, I guess, but that feels awful.
Yeah, that feels terrible. I do agree on that front. Like if you're going to be attacking with this Ragavan, you need to make sure this Vengevine dies this turn.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like you might have to Fork Bolt and just say go, which
Yeah.
I mean, not having a second land for Cliff is just feels terrible there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is yeah, I could either go Forkbolt, or would you want to deploy the Channeler there? Because you could actually attack with the Ragavan, block, have the die, and then play out the Dragon's Rage Channeler as well as a 3/3, because Ragavan would turn on Delirium.
Yeah, that's also fair. It feels like you're just sacrificing your Ragavan to pump up your Channeler at that point. Like it feels like you've sort of just taken a whole turn off.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like we were getting double Forkbolt there, which I think is actually really good. I do agree.
Yeah, so no chance of attacking
Therapy.
here. Oh my goodness. Uh-oh.
Here, I would name Dragon's Rage Channeler, absolutely. Yeah, name's Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, so there's a Murktide and another thing there. Do you sacrifice the Vengevine to get rid of this Murktide?
I mean, yeah. If Cliff finds a land, then he's instantly back in the game off of that. All he has to do is find one blue source, and he can just have an 8/8 pretty for free there.
Yeah. Ooh, looks like he didn't do it.
All right, let's see if he gets punished.
Doesn't appear to be. Wow. Huh. Yeah, it looks like he dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, too, is if Chad even gets one land, then that'll bring the Bloodghast back.
Yeah, both players just kind of living off the top here, staring at each other down. Cliff
Oh
is,
my gosh.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3,
Draw
4, 5,
go,
6,
draw
7,
go.
8, 9. Cliff has seen at least 15 cards this game and has found one land.
Putrid Imp. Okay, so Putrid Imp, this is bad for Cliff if this resolves, because this will allow him to have a fodder to sacrifice to the therapy naming Murktide Regent.
Yeah, that's sort of we'll get rid of his get out of jail free card if he chooses.
Or is he going to try and cast a Hogaak here? I could also see that. Casting a Hogaak and then sacking the Putrid Imp afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Are we activating Putrid Imp's ability? Looks like it.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I like continuing to cut off Cliff's outs and sort of winning on my own time, but I think that might just be my playstyle. I'm not sure if that has the highest upside or not.
Yeah, I really, really like what he's doing here. Exiles both Gravecrawlers and the Bloodghast. Returns the second Vengevine. Crunch for 4.
Yeah, no real choice but to take that. Sack the Putrid Imp here, hopefully.
And then sack Putrid Imp, yeah.
So he had
flashback.
He had enough cards in his graveyard to where he could have everything. So
Nate's Murktide. It's 2 Murktides. Oh
goodness.
No. And there's the blue source. Ow.
Yeah, I didn't do the math to realize that the Chad could have his cake and eat it too there by, eating the Murktide and also getting Hogaak.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is Hogaak was able to block Ragavan there as well. Wow, very decisive game one from Scavenging Booze there. Wow.
Yeah, I think if we had not seen Cliff stumble so hard on mana, it would have been more of a challenge. But also, some of those early creatures just don't fight the same way in the mid game.
No.
So, like Dragon Rage Chandler on turn 6 doesn't feel great against that board that Chad had. We want to take a look at sideboards here.
Yeah, for sure. So on Cliff's side here, we got 2 copies of Blazing Volley, 1 Flusterstorm, 1 copy of Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Meltdown, 3 Pyroblast, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 copies of Abrade, 1 Null Rod, 1 Blood Moon, and 1 copy of Submerge.
Well, it looks like the Grafdigger's Cage is probably free, and we talked before about how surgical doesn't always hit Hogaak in the way that you want it to, but I still definitely bring the surgicals in here because you can still get them, and it's good against some of the other stuff like the Vengevines and the Gravecrawlers and the Bloodghast we saw that game.
Yeah, I also am a huge fan of Blood Moon and Null Rod in this matchup. Actually, given that Booze is on the Altar of Dementia build, I think that Null Rod is very powerful here. Just by virtue of it makes it so that way the Hogaak deck doesn't have a combo kill. And Blood Moon is just bonkers against Hogaak.
Yeah, all those make total sense. Sometimes when I play against Hogaak, I just get like beat by dummies, and so it's hard for me to think past turn 3 when I can actually like cast those cards. That makes total sense. So we saw that game; it went pretty long, and if he had Blood Moon, then Scavenging Boots wouldn't have cast any spell after turn 3.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll take a look at Chad's here. 1 Dark Blast, 2 Run Afoul, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Assassin's Trophy, full 4 Force of Vigor, and full 4 Leyline of the Void. What do you like out of his sideboard there?
I like the trophies. I also really like Dark Blast. Run Afoul I think is very good, but I think there's too many targets. Being Dragon's Rage Channeler, Insectile Aberration, and Murktide Regent all fly. I think there's too much there for it to be good. Honestly, I'd rather probably just run Trophy in that slot anyway. I could see Abrupt Decay also being super good, given that it deals with anything that isn't a Murktide Regent. And Dark Blast just hits Delver Secrets, hits Ragavan, and also hits Dragon's Rage Channeler if they don't have Delirium.
Yeah, I absolutely love the decays, especially like you mentioned. It hits everything but Murktide. It can't be countered, and a lot of Delver's plan can just be to like stick a flyer, keep it alive, and then burn you and swing at you. So if you can just kill it and they can't stop you, that's a great way to disrupt that game plan.
Yeah, I'd still be a little bit like I suppose in that regard, thinking on it, Abrupt Decay is much better than Assassin's Trophy in this matchup. But that being said, Trophy is your only clean answer to a Murktide Regent.
Yeah, and I mean, Cliff can get a Murktide Regent pretty comfortably on turn 4, we'll say, maybe even sooner. So gonna take a look at the 7s here. Cliff will get to be on the play. Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff in Chad's sideboard. We got to see the Run Afoul in the quarterfinals against Rax on Sneak and Show, and it was a house. It was a really sweet.
Oh yeah.
Didn't need it, but it was neat to see a new card played in a sideboard like that.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when Run Afoul first got spoiled, everyone was losing their mind because it was a clean answer to Merit Lage.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't fetch a Dryad Arbor in response to protect it.
Yep, or a Severe Step.
Yep, none of those work. Yeah, it's kind of funny when Merit Lage is your only flying creature.
Yeah, the Edict effects, been an answer for that for a while, but like you mentioned, fetching Dryad Arbor, sometimes like they just have a Mother of Runes or something out in the green-white builds.
Yeah.
So Cliff on the play, turn 1 Ponder.
So definitely a better start this game than the game prior there. Like, I do think that the Forked Bolt last game was very good on Cliff's end, but I think having the Ponder out earlier, especially because potentially this could be much more mana this time around. Hedron Crab, so this is a good start from Chad here. However, this is going to need to live in order for it to actually work.
Yeah, if Cliff has burn, I'd do whatever it takes to stop cards from getting in the graveyard.
Yeah. Brainstorm.
Oop.
Oh.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right, brainstorm.
Cast Brainstorm. Okay. 3 cards.
Hogaak is sort of weird when it comes to graveyard decks in that it can also just like cast all these dummies from their hand. It doesn't have to use Bridge from Below to get 2/2s or have to use Bloodghast or Icarid or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you can stop them from getting cards in their graveyard, it's great for you.
Mm-hmm. So we're just gonna see Delta fetch off of that Brainstorm there. So this perfect Brainstorm.
Clear out the garbage. See if we found
Yep.
a bolt.
Did we find one? Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, so this Dragon's Rage Channeler is almost on.
Yep, just needs a creature or artifact, I guess,
Yep.
if Norrod came in. So we got a land, and it's
Ooh,
a fetch
Altered
land.
Days, and is that a Gravecrawler, the other card? Or Stitcher Supplier?
I'm not sure. It almost looks like the left half of Bloodghast to me, but
Oh, it could be a Bloodghast as well.
so,
Stitcher Supplier.
ooh. So yeah, this Hedron Crab and
Careful
this
Study,
Sapphire,
Vengevine, and Marsh Flats.
yep.
Okay.
Probably gonna see at least 9 cards hit the graveyard here. Yeah, there's the fetch.
Fetch.
Notably, no bridges and not a like critical massive stuff that comes back for free. No Cabal
Yeah.
therapies either.
Yeah, you gotta, if you're in Cliff Spot, you gotta kind of hope that there's not a therapy here. Like, if this is bridge therapy, something else like a Gravecrawler, you're very sad.
Yeah. Let's see.
Well, there's a Gravecrawler
Yep.
and 2 lands. Okay, so no bridge, no therapy, because that would have been absolutely bonkers if that had happened.
All right.
And I like
reasonably
deploying
safe.
the Gravecrawler here. Oh,
Uh,
that's the second creature spell for the turn, so that brings back the Vengevine as well.
Wow, that's a hell of a turn too, huh?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That is really not bad. I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking at this Hogaak deck for a while, and I'm like, man, that seems like fun.
It has some super powerful starts. It can also just like completely grind out against me by just like making 2/2s every turn and saying like, "Can you answer this one?" Like, I don't know, I'll
Yeah.
kill you eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, I got the pieces for it pre-COVID, but I haven't played it.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I would literally just need the Hogaaks and the altars, and that would be about it. I have everything else.
Yeah.
So,
See,
which Hogaak is dirt cheap now.
Why did something happen?
Yeah, it's almost like it got banned in all the formats it was super good in.
Modern, too pure for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Getting a
That being
basic
said,
item.
Hogaak is still very powerful in Legacy, but it's definitely not anywhere near as oppressive as it was in Modern.
Yeah, not enough to make a surgical go up to 50, $60 a piece, huh?
Yeah, not enough.
Let's see. Found a basic island tapping 3 here. This is probably a big... Oh, there's the Blood Moon that you mentioned.
Ooh, there's the Blood Moon. Uh-oh, this is really bad for Chad.
Yeah.
This is real bad.
I mean, depending on what he finds may not matter a ton. If he can find enough things to sacrifice and get in the yard to start casting Hogaaks or get Bridge from Below tokens, like, he might just be able to go wide around Cliff. But
Yeah.
we'll have to see how that works out.
And it looks like we're getting the Surveil here. Surveil's Ragavan into the bin. Okay, so Dragon's Rage Channeler is online now.
Delirium
3 in the
enabled.
air. Smash.
So we got a race. Free attack for a scavenging boost this turn. Unfortunately, let's see, what is that? 7 power in play right now?
Yeah, 7 power. So we got Fancy Mountain here. Triggering that. Oh, gets a Hogaak? And was that a Leyline of the Void I saw? Could have been.
It looked like a flash of one, but that would be a surprising thing to see here. I mean, I guess it does
I
cut
could
off.
see it does cut off a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Also cuts off Murktide Regent, which is really good, but I don't know. Is that too narrow?
I don't know. It certainly helps you if the game goes long.
Yeah.
Which is a way that he can lose here if Cliff answers enough of his threats. But
Yeah.
would help with that blood moon out too. But
Definitely.
So
Smash.
smash all these. I mean, this clock is not nothing here.
No.
That's half a Cliff's life, so he needs to keep a blocker up. Um,
Yeah. And
that must
we're
not have been Hogaak because he wouldn't have swing with all these.
sacrificing that to flash something back. Oh, therapy target
Oh, yep.
himself.
Therapy target himself names bridge from below. And
I like that a lot, actually.
yeah. So we saw the abrupt decay, and we saw the other sideboard card there as well, the run afoul.
Run afoul did come in. There's a grave crawler. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any black mana to cast it. There is exactly one basic swamp in Chad's deck.
Leaving the hand up for us back there. Yeah, nothing in that hand is coming out of that hand for quite a while. Excuse me.
No. But that being said, though, I actually, even though it seems kind of like poor value, I guess, to get the bridge from below in the yard now, just because if Cliff has even one creature die, that bridge is gone. I think it's good by virtue of it will allow Chad to have an avenue to actually play stuff out. Also, hilariously, because that you cannot ever pay mana for Hogaak, Blood Moon does nothing to stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he has enough creatures and enough value out to where if he can just, like, cast Hogaak a couple times, maybe burn a Force of Will or two, I think he wins in the long run there, unless Cliff can get significantly more pressure on the board. But
Yeah, I could see that.
Cliff hasn't played a ton of cards this game. He should have, I think, 5 or 6 cards in hand, I think.
Who, Cliff?
Yeah.
Looks like he's only got 3.
Oh, interesting.
Interestingly.
Okay, well, all we've seen is 2 non-cantrip spells.
Oh, is that...
cast.
Was he thinking during his upkeep? Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, that's part of the thing, is he hadn't drawn a card yet for the turn.
Gotcha. Yeah. The cantrips all replace themselves. Oh, he has seen quite a few lands, I guess, this game. But
Yeah. We also don't know what was put back off of Brainstorm either.
it's fair. Just thinking. I mean, this has got to be an awkward spot for Cliff here.
Ooh, interesting.
Bold.
Crunch for 3.
This has to indicate like a bolt for the Vengevine or something, right?
I would say so. Either that or this is going to be a second channeler here. Or potentially a Ragavan. Delver. Okay,
Right.
I like that. I'd like that play a little bit more if he played a second creature here. Or played a third, I guess, technically, but...
If he
can follow up with a second channeler here, I think that attack makes a ton of sense.
Yep. And if he plays a second creature here, he can get all the Vengevines out of his graveyard.
Well... So Cliff doesn't play a second creature, passes back to Chad. Draws a card, whole bunch of mountains for his bug deck.
Sad. He should put like 1 fireball on the sideboard just in case.
There you go. Hilariously, Ultra Dementia also being an artifact is another thing that Chad can use to get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we're going to crunch for 6, though. Pay 2 red.
Ooh, if this is like
could
bolt,
this
bolt,
be?
can you imagine?
Oh, that would be so bad.
I mean, we'll get 2 zombies, and I guess we'll be able to still get Hogaak out.
A braid.
Okay.
Oh, that's really good. Okay.
Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Hedron Crab can't help cast Hogaak. Help cast Hogaak, right? At least not with the colored mana requirements.
No, it can convoke the other card, but for the 5.
Yeah.
But it cannot help cast the Golgari part.
Interesting.
Because a lot of people forget that 5 can also be paid for with the convoke, not just the colored mana.
Yeah. Dredging is just always
Bolt.
Goodness, Bolt is not.
That's a good reveal. Yeah, so when he cast the Abrade, he surveilled, saw the bolt on top, and just left it there. That's very good.
Yeah.
So now Cliff has 6 power of flyers, and Chad has 4 power of creatures on board. And being locked under Blood Moon, I'd almost wonder if you just crunch for 6 here, and then crunch for 9 next turn.
I think that I'm Probably just swing with both of these and bolt whatever or whatever Chad swings with. Like it seems pretty free.
Like I think I agree. Like attack for 6 here, and then just save the bolt because you're gonna need it in case a Vengevine comes back. But otherwise, you can just take this down to 1 and then bolt next turn. It's like pass back.
With one volcanic island suspiciously set to the right there.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, so this is gonna go, and it's actually gonna go and get a Bloodghast here, which is huge because Bloodghast actually has haste.
All
Oh,
right.
was there no Bloodghast in the graveyard?
I think that still would not have been enough with that bolt in hand.
Interesting, because Bloodghast on the attack would have been 6 damage coming across, which the bolt would have protected against. However, depends on if Cliff has anything else in hand.
That's fair.
Pardon.
I don't think Boost was dead on board there necessarily because it was only 6 damage and he was at 7, but I could see feeling hopeless there with against 2 flyers.
Absolutely. Maybe there wasn't a Bloodghast in the graveyard. I figured that there would have been. Oh well.
We get to see a third game, so that's all
Yep.
that matters.
Exactly. As far as sideboarding goes, again, there's no new information gained, really. Given that these are open deck lists. However, the only information you really gain is what cards came in.
Yeah, so like for instance, Chad knows about that Blood Moon now. Do you think we see Force of Vigor brought in against that? That seems very narrow.
I do agree it seems narrow, but at the same time, I actually don't mind 1 or 2 Force of Vigors just by virtue of it also hits the Null Rod potentially or Grafdigger's Cage.
That's all fair. Yeah.
Grafdigger's Cage is by far the bigger problem of the two, but being able to hit Blood Moon or Cage I think is very good, especially given that you can actually use it after the Blood Moon is already out, because you can cast it for free by pitching a green spell. I would not have thought the Run-of-Fowls would have come in, but apparently they did.
Yeah, I mean, it would have turned out well if he had been able to cast it that game.
Yeah, that's true. Every creature Cliff had at the end of that game too was flying, so... Which,
Yeah.
having green sacrifice a 3-power flyer is really good. But at the same time... Well, maybe it is a better argument because everything that flies is 3 mana. Because Dragon's Rage Channeler doesn't fly until it has Delirium. Delver doesn't fly until it is flipped over. And then, so you're always hitting a Murktide region or the bad half of Dragon's Rage or Delver. So maybe it is worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the abrupt, like you mentioned with some of the hate pieces, the Grafdigger's Cage, Blood Moon, and Null Rod, like the abrupt decays might already be stretched a little thin. So if you have a 1 mana way to get rid of a creature, then go for it. And I think not being targeted doesn't matter a ton there because Chad just wants like generic flyer off the board, like if they're all 3-power and up.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. Meltdown as well is a card that has spiked a lot lately in terms of how playable it is due to Urza Saga. As a painter player, that card makes me sad.
Yeah, I think I have a couple copies somewhere in the house, but I haven't dragged them out yet. So
Card's definitely very, very powerful.
Oh, for sure. I'm sad we don't see more pulverize in the meta. That's one of those cards that always seems like just on the edge of sideboardable.
Yeah, I think the thing is that the ability for Meltdown to literally just be 1 red mana, clean up all the constructs, and if you need to make it blow up more from there, you can, because it doesn't blow up your own artifacts, and whereas that... Because, like, if you have a Grafdigger's Cage, for example, you don't want to be pulverizing.
Yeah. Oh, I meant even, like, pre-Urza Saga. I get that 1 mana is a much lower cost than Sack 2 Mountains.
Oh, yeah, I see.
But, yeah, I think we just haven't had that critical mass of artifacts in Legacy in a while.
Yeah.
Turn 1 Cabal Therapy. Let's see. This is target Cliff. And we're going to name Surgical Extraction.
Ooh,
and hits 1.
And he gets a hit.
Yep.
Oh, wow. 2 lands, Bolt, Fork Bolt, Murktide, Force of Will. Okay, so I don't
Yeah.
mind seeing that hand across from me. It's good to know about the forked bolt and the lightning bolt. In particular, the forked bolt, so that we don't over deploy. Um, and the only blue card being a Murktide region. If I could, I'd almost try and force something through, just so as that way you're kind of making Cliff pull the trigger by pitching the Murktide region.
Yeah, that hand is slow, but it has top end. If he can live for a
Yeah.
few turns, then he can cast
I
some Murktide
totally
Regent.
don't blame Cliff for keeping it either. That hand is not bad, and
Yeah.
having the surgical in it was very good.
Yeah, getting blind surgical there sucks a little bit if you're Cliff, because I mean I assume that was most of the strength of the why you were keeping it. Um, like getting to hit this Cabal therapy here would feel so good if you were Cliff.
Oh, for sure. And also of note, Chad fetching up the one basic swamp in the list.
Yep. Against that wasteland in hand, we'll be happy
Yeah.
to see that wasteland.
Yeah. So of note, if Blood Moon resolves, abrupt decay is never happening. However, the thing that the basic swamp allows you to do is it allows you to continue to Cabal therapy and also Grave Crawler,
Yep.
which is very good.
Yeah, that any repeatable threat against Delver with it is going to be useful.
Yeah. Well, it's more so as well, just it allows you to redeploy once you have a bridge and then your Altar of Dementia. It allows you to loop the Grave Crawlers.
Yeah, Cliff isn't playing a Pyroclasm or anything. It just has Blazing Volley, so can't clean up like if you have 4/2/2s, then he's going to struggle to get around that.
Exactly. Pyroclasm is a great card, by the way.
Yeah. I saw Sensei play Volcanic Fallout on stream a couple months ago, and I instantly went out and got a couple play sets. Forgot that card
Yeah.
existed.
It's sweet. Instant speed can't be countered. Pyroclasm that also hits players. It's so cool.
Does everything. All right. So Cliff didn't have any cantrips or anything. Oh, okay. Never mind. Casually top deck Ponder.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a real good top deck.
oh yeah, because the rest of that hand was nothing but reaction and top end.
Yeah.
We're gonna shuffle it.
Shuffle. Oof. Of note as well, we also know that Cliff does not have another shuffle source in his hand. That other land in his hand is Wasteland. It is not another fetch.
Yeah. Also, not a colored mana source, so even if he does try to he can't delve out this Murktide until he can find a second land.
Yeah.
Or a second blue source, sorry.
So if you're in Cliff's shoes, I'd probably want to fetch land here right away.
Yeah. But let's see. That's turn one done, so let's pass it back here and see if Scavenging Boots can capitalize on that sort of slower start from Cliff.
Yeah. Slow start. Hogaak decks are not known for their slow starts. So do you counter this with Force of Will?
It is so hard to know. So I guess the answer is yes, pitching Murktide.
The answer is yes. So if I'm in Chad's spot, I'm very thrilled about that.
Yeah, it just seems like bait because, like, if you have Alter, then yeah, you can set up and win, but also the same setup just wins if you attack with the creatures. It's just a little slower.
Yeah. Well, and this is it, is Alter is by no means required for Hogaak to do Hogaak things.
Mm-hmm.
This is very good. And the fact that you managed to pitch a Murktide Regent to get rid of your Altar of Dimension is very awesome.
Yeah, like,
here's the Gravecrawler.
Milling 8 cards at a time is a pretty good way to win, but also, like, dealing 8 damage it's also pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, were we thinking about therapy there? Looks like maybe Chad changed his mind. I don't blame him on it, honestly. I'd be a little bit worried about sacrificing this Gravecrawler right now.
Yeah, without a way to buy it back, that makes total sense. And you know your opponent has got ways to slow you down in hand as well.
Is Cliff on missing out on lands again? Oh no.
Yeah, I think we haven't seen a land since that Wasteland, and I think he passed turn back last turn.
Wow. Ooh. That being said, we do know that there's a Forked Bolt in hand, so maybe Cliff just fires it off here, takes out the Gravecrawler, and then sends one upstairs and just hopes that Chad doesn't have a follow-up?
It's going to be the best time to try to get the Gravecrawler since he doesn't have a zombie to buy it back. But we're just going to see...
Days in response?
Okay.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the same as a bolt, I guess, basically.
Man, Cliff has been deep in the tank today.
I mean, tournament life is on the line, and we're not sure if that Gravecrawler represents a long-term worry or if that's just more bait. So,
Yeah. It's
um,
one of the things that I personally like doing is I like putting the card down on top of my lands so that way people know if it's resolved or not.
yeah, in like tournament play, I always like set it at the top of my mat, even if the Canterville set it there, and then once it's in resolving, I put it in the graveyard. I try to have decent discipline about that, but
Yeah. And then counter Gravecrawler into Fork Bolt on Dryad Arbor and one upstairs. That feels really bad now.
so this is Delver to back up Gravecrawler.
Gravecrawler.
Uh, doesn't have the land right now to buy the Gravecrawler back out of the graveyard, so Cliff will have
No.
a chance to stop this again.
Yeah. So this one did resolve.
Yep.
So now, here's the thing, though, is that Cliff needs to deal with this Gravecrawler, because it will allow the other Gravecrawler to come back right away. So we know Cliff does have one bolt in hand. The question is if Cliff fires off the bolt just to deal with the Gravecrawler here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Vengevine is maybe one of the more premium targets for that bolt,
Ooh.
but
Ooh,
there's
that's a
Ragavan.
good one, too. That's a really good one, especially given that Gravecrawlers can't block.
Oh, and
Oh,
he did
and we
find
got
land.
another
Okay, good.
man. We got another land. Okay.
So I don't love saying go and holding up bolt because the priority will make it to where you don't get a chance to stop this, but
Yeah, I really would want to fire the bolt off here,
yeah.
given that if Chad is able to cast the Gravecrawler, he could immediately just Hogaak it right away.
Yeah, he has access to that, or he could even just flashback Cabal Therapy as well, and then recast Gravecaller off the second land as well.
Yeah,
So
cast
immediately going to cast
Gravecrawler.
this. Yeah, makes sense. So if this resolves, he'll have priority, and like you mentioned, can cast either. Is he exactly right on Hogaak, or is he one short in the yard?
I believe he's exactly on Hogaak right
Okay.
now. So if this was a fetch land here, so there was an attack, so we know we're not getting
Yeah.
Hogaak this turn. But if there was fetch land, that would allow you to leave the therapy and then pitch one of the grave crawlers to it afterwards. And of note, Hogaak, I believe, is a zombie. Oh no, he's an avatar. Okay, he is made of zombies, but he is not a zombie himself.
Right, like a zombie elemental.
Yeah, basically. I was just thinking that because if Hogaak was a zombie, that would allow Hogaak would allow the grave crawlers to come back. But in this case, no. So we're just gonna shoot off a bolt here on the untapped Gravecrawler. Not required given that it can't block anyway, but it still strains the mana a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go and get a Marsh Flats, or sorry, a Misty Rainforest.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes it to where the casting Hogaak isn't free next turn, and one of them will be sick and can't swing. Um, I wonder about hitting it, about letting him cast a second Gravecaller, but if you're afraid of Vengevine, then that makes sense
Yeah,
to hold off.
I can see that. Um, if Chad's able to go like fetch land, careful study, discard two Vengevines, and then okay,
Oh,
never mind.
all
This
right.
line is off.
We found the answer.
Yeah,
So just casually had double volt, I guess, and wanted to get them both in the same turn to prevent one from bringing the other back.
yep.
Maybe.
And that's one of the reasons why Forked Bolt feels so good right now.
Yeah. The Blazing Volley, I was gonna wonder about that during sideboarding. A lot of the creatures in this deck have one toughness, but like the zombies are two toughness. It
Yeah,
feels like I really want to kill those if I can. Like
yeah.
Pyroclasm is so much better here than Blazing Volley.
Chad missing the land drop there, it hurts awful bad.
Yep. So Cliff is starting the slow grind here with this Ragavan.
Yeah,
Um, finds a Hedron Crab on top of the deck. It's a blocker. I mean, I don't know if I'm excited about this or not. I probably just don't cast it.
yeah. I wouldn't honestly. The big thing is that Hedron Crab, I do not believe is a May. Yeah,
Yeah.
target player. So you could target yourself to try and get a Murktide online. But if you don't have the Murktide or Dragon's Rage in hand, it's bad. And you absolutely do not want to be hitting Chad with with Hedron Crab if you're in the Delver spot. Absolutely not.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I imagine we're going to see no more than like 3 landfall triggers from Cliff for the rest of the game. So
Yeah,
milling yourself a few times is maybe you mill 3 trash cards off the top, and then you can cast your Murktide.
that's true.
Not-
Oh, that Murktide's castable anyway right now.
Oh yeah, for I think probably completely full value.
3. Is this a Blood Moon? It is a Blood
Found it.
Moon. This is really bad. This is really bad because this turns. Oh, okay. So Chad's able to still play a 1-drop out, but that being said, this basic swamp is going to be the only colored source Chad has for the rest of the game, unless the Force of Vigors are in.
Yep. It doesn't have a second land to have to worry about it right now. So like I guess there we go. Hogaak and a Gravecaller and a Citrus Fire, right?
Wow.
Would love to find a bridge or a
Yeah.
Cabal Therapy. Or...
I personally am a huge fan of also running a basic forest just because that will allow you to cast Abrupt Decay.
Yeah. Do they run a lot of the green fetches? I thought all the fetches in the deck were black. I guess there's some
So
Verdant
there
Catacombs.
are 4 Verdant
Okay.
Catacombs, 4 Misty Rainforest,
2
and
Blessing.
then 2 Blessed Mires and 1 Marsh Flats. So there are,
Okay.
excuse me, 7 black fetches, 8 green fetches.
It's
And then,
interesting to see the Misty in there. I guess I would have thought all the fetches would be able to get that basic swamp if given the option.
yeah, interesting.
Ragavan finds
Either
a
way.
Citrus Supplier.
Hmm.
I mean, you could cast it. It is a creature, and your opponent doesn't have any creatures out right now.
That is true.
But looks like opting not to.
A Braid? Or was that a block?
No, that was maybe no, never mind, that wasn't milled. I guess that we were talking about the fetches, and I missed what happened with the Abrade.
Yeah.
So still a clean board on Chad's side.
Yeah. That being said, though, this Ragavan is starting to clean up. Smash for 2 more.
Yeah, hasn't wanted any of the cards so far. Might want that grave. I mean, the Gravecaller is just a creature, so.
Oh, I see. These are just cards getting exiled there. And yeah, Cliff is absolutely casting that Gravecrawler.
Yeah. That's why I was wondering a little bit of the Citrus Supplier. Like, milling yourself doesn't do anything this late in the game, but like it's another power on the board. Gravecrawler is 2 power, so that'll definitely beat down a little more efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
If Scavenging Boots can find a way to block it, he can at least get it back.
That's true. Oh, there we go.
Cliff just has a Gravecrawler. Perfect.
Excellent.
I tried to do that
He
with
also cast that off of the treasure token that's made too. Ragavan. Legend
Oh.
Rule. Let's go. So that'll untap the Ragavan, interestingly.
Yeah, I mean, you could hold it until you can brainstorm it back, I guess, but at this point, it at least blocks like a. He wouldn't block a Bloodghast with it. I don't know. Just get it out of your hand, I guess.
Yeah, I could see that.
I found out on stream the hard way the other night that Ragavan is legendary.
Yeah.
Rip. So a swing and a Vengevine.
Ooh.
He has enough.
Hilariously, you're actually able to cast it.
Yeah.
Which he does.
Give me that. I bet he has a Vengevine hanging out too if he had a Gravecrawler.
Yeah, could be.
So this is more than lethal next turn.
Yeah.
All right, I'm into this 4-color Delver here.
Yep. And looks like Chad's is going to scoop it up and concede. Wow. After a brutal game 1, and then some really slow game 3 starts there. Man, we managed to get through here, and it worked out actually pretty good. Cliff's going to move on to the finals here. Excellent run by Chad, though.
Yep. So he'll be playing the winner of Malfi and Masa H. So he'll be either playing against another Sneak and Show deck or Stoneblade in the finals. This is MTGPL. Check out our Discord, Twitter, links below us, as well as Twitch. We stream every Tuesday and Saturday, and we can't wait to see you play some games on our server. Do you have anything else for us, Prez?
No, just other than the league is a great way to try and get into the server if you're ever curious about playing webcam Magic. So I'd highly advise signing up for the league if it's open. Trying to use that as a way to get into the server. Otherwise, we hope to see you there and play some games against you.
We'll see all y'all later.
Have a good one.